Well, the important thing to realise with LASIK surgery is that the patient is left with the cornea, so you're getting rid of the glasses or contact lenses. So the idea is to leave an optimal shape on the cornea, because that's what the patient is left with. Leaving an optimal shape involves looking at the corneal parameters and including those into the treatment plan. So not just basing the treatment plan on glasses alone or the manifest refraction, but incorporating the corneal shape as well. And the corneal shape can be incorporated using topography, using a manual keratometry, using IOL master or lens star, or the parameter of core T that we've published on with Dr. Alpens. Vector planning involves incorporating the corneal parameters into the refractive treatment plan and not just basing the treatment on refractive parameters alone. And we found from previous studies that the optimum emphasis is at 60% by refractive parameters compared to 40% by corneal parameters. And we're placing 60% emphasis on the ocular residual astigmatism, which is the refractive difference, or the vectorial difference, I should say, between the refractive cylinder and the corneal astigmatism. And that, no matter how good the surgery is, that's what's going to remain in the eye itself, or the optical system itself. You can't get rid of the ocular residual astigmatism. It's that difference that's inherent. So what we do about that difference is treat it using vector planning rather than refractive parameters alone, which would leave all of that ocular residual astigmatism on the cornea postoperatively. Dr. Maria Abelez out of Oman has just released a study to be published in the ESCRS next month, where she looked at 80 eyes treated by manifest refraction alone as compared to 80 eyes treated with vector planning, and she found better visual results with the vector planning group. So specifically, she found 90% of vector planning eyes as compared to 68% fell within 0.13 diopters of spherical equivalent. Well, we also found, or she also found, that the corneal astigmatism was a lot less, which is what you'd expect with vector planning. So we had 74% of vector planning eyes as compared to 34% of manifest refraction, with less than 0.75 diopters of corneal astigmatism. Now, the important thing that came out of that study was that we didn't compromise the refractive cylinder. So we lowered the corneal astigmatism, and yet we didn't raise the refractive cylinder as you'd expect. And this would be due to the better shape left on the cornea, therefore less aberrations on the cornea. And her study found that 97% of eyes with vector planning, as compared to 92%, were less than 0.25 diopters of refractive cylinder postoperatively. Vector planning can be used for all forms of astigmatism, including irregular astigmatism. But again, you're looking at what measure of corneal astigmatism do you use, and we recommend using the corneal topographic astigmatism that we described previously in 2012 in the ESCRS and 2015 in the ESCRS, where we looked at comparing the best parameter for corneal astigmatism to refractive cylinder, which is the gold standard. And we found that corneal topographic astigmatism was better than simulated keratometry, better than manual keratometry, and better than paraxial curvature matching, which is a form of corneal wavefront. And we also found subsequently in 2005 that the core T total, which included the posterior the posterior cornea, was better again than anterior core T, which is what you'd expect factoring in that posterior surface of the cornea. So it can be used across the board for all treatments of astigmatism. Dr. Alpens has just released his book on practical astigmatism, which involves a lot of guidance clinically that you can use as a reference source to analysing astigmatism and looking at vector planning for treating astigmatism.